Hello. So I'm going to be talking about transmuting energy, especially when it comes to transmuting parasites like etheric parasites or emotional blockages or just etheric attachments in general. I made a video on it, but I did take it down because I was rambling a lot, and I think just me being a Libra Mercury, I go on a lot of tangents, and I know that that's not very relevant to a large majority of you. So I want to make this video just talking about how you can go about transmuting energy. You can transmute energy to any kind of energy you want it to be. So you can make great energy around you into unbeneficial energy, and you're still transmuting it. Like, you're still like changing it. You're taking that energy and you're making it non-existent, but you're filling it with something else. You're making it into something else. And so it's like a very silent form of alchemy when you're able to change the energy around you. Some people are able to just tap into this naturally, and some people it takes effort, and some people it takes tools. So if you're a person that likes to use tools, I encourage it. If you feel like you don't need tools, then you just have like a natural ability to change the energy in your space. If you want to change energy in your space, and you don't know if you have like a natural ability, you should check out your you should check out your astrology chart, and or your natal chart, and see what area of life you have certain energies, and the planets in there. But anyways, so if, let's say, you're trying to transmute energy from something that was physically occurring, like, let's say you and a person that you know got into a really bad situation, and then that situation forever changed your dynamic. How you can transmute that, and this is something that I'm currently doing myself. I like to transmute energy alone before I try to engage with other people. And so if that's your preference, then this might help you. But what I do is that I have to work on my own energy first, because everything that's inside of you, it reflects outside. Everything that is outside of you, you play it out. Like, how you perceive it is how you play it out, and that's how your world around you operates. So I have to work on myself first. And by working on myself, it means that I have to become aware of why I'm even in that situation. So if a situation happened where it changed the relationship between me and that person forever, then most likely it was because I either had a pushing energy where I pushed them away, or maybe they had an energy where they pushed me away. If they had an energy that pushed me away, in a sense, then it means that I also played a part, and I have to find the part of me that's like a parasite that allowed that to happen. The things that happen to us that isn't benefiting us, you can find where those things are, and these things are like parasites that you can actually remove. It's like having a bug in your room, and you feel fear in your room because you're like, there's a bug in there and it's scary, and there's a way to remove it and make it so then you're no longer afraid of being in that space. So it usually, if you're going to do any kind of parasite removal, it involves like a lot of internal work first. I don't want to say a lot of internal work. I'll just call it like internal, like, realization. Like, you realize that like there's an aspect of you that makes things happen a certain way, or that draws certain things to you, or pushes certain things away, or keeps things from entering your life. There's an aspect of you that is either doesn't want to change, that wants to change but can't manifest it, or is trying to attract certain things, either that you like or that you don't like, and then you can like manipulate the energy you hold to make things happen more in your favor. So again, if you're going to try to transmute an energy, there is something within you that is either allowing it to happen or not allowing it. And this is great because when you have something that's within you that controls your outside environment, then you are realizing that you have all the power, like, already. You already have full control over this situation. And sometimes, like, you may have certain blockages that keep you from accessing that potential. So again, those are like parasites that we can transmute. And just keep in mind, the more things that you change or manipulate, the more things you'll find. So it's not like you'll just clear something and then you're just good to go. It's not a one-stop shop. You have to, it's like you're continuously, like, finding more and more and more. So let's say I want to, if, like, I'm just gonna walk through a process of how I transmute energy, and if it relates or helps anyone, that's great. But let's say I want to change a situation that happened between me and another person that kind of changed our dynamic forever. Well, keep in mind that the universe usually has things play out for a reason. Okay, like, you can't force things. Like, you have all the power, but you have all the power to realize what the universe is trying to do for you. And so first you have to realize, like, I, how does this situation make you feel? Like, I feel blocked, or I feel unfulfilled, or I feel like I'm left in the dark about something, or I feel attached, or I feel detached from this. And if you wish to be attached or detached from that thing, then you have to put a meaning. Why do you want it to, why do you want to detach from it? Or why do you want to attach yourself to it? I want to detach myself from this because it's bringing me down. Or I want to attach myself to this because it would bring fulfillment. All right? So now that you've added the meaning, like, meaning is like the meat of the whole reason behind the things. Like, if you look at certain words and how they sound, and the vibration of that word, then you'll understand why certain words sound the way they do, and why it's important to, like, have all aspects of these things into the things. It's hard to explain. It's like you're trying to put something together, and you're trying to fill a space with everything it needs. Like, things that want to thrive need water, nourishment of some kind, love possibly, and sometimes things need light. You need to add light to it. And so you have to find out what things in those vibrations you can put together to manifest that thing you're trying to sprout, like that seed you're trying to sprout, or that energy that you're trying to change. It's like you can water a tree that's dying, and by adding water to that tree, it'll start sprouting new leaves. You did transmute the energy of that tree, because it went from dying in a frequency of death to a frequency of life, and, like, just birth. And so that's transmuting energy on a physical level. And you can and it's so much easier to do this spiritually, because spiritually is where it all starts. You have to have the thought of even watering that dead plant, and then a vision or a meaning as to what you see and why you're doing it for that tree, And if I were to want to change an energy, I would have to have a meaning for it. I can't just do it just because. So you have to put you have to fill it, like, you have to put meaning in it, the meat of the matter. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put that in there. And then after I know why I'm doing it, you have, like, a vision, because you have the ability as a full you're a full conscious, aware spirit that has visions. You should be all about visions as a spirit, because we're like this we create, like, we can create shapes and thoughts and sparks of imagination and fire and all those things. So you put the vision of what you want. And so when you have the vision of what you want to see, as long as you can see it for yourself, then it is possible. But it also takes time because of the fact that we're in this density. Some things take time, but if you're trying to transmute an energy that's more spiritual and hasn't manifested to physically yet, and hasn't played out physically in physical situations, then it's so much easier to transmute. But if it is very physical, like this person's now, the dynamic between you and someone has changed, then it takes a vision, and it takes you also have to know you can't control other people, so you just have to do that internal work for yourself. After realizing your vision, you're like, okay, now what can I tap into with myself that will allow me to be closer to that vision? And keep in mind that also you may not attract that specific scenario because you may not even know the backstory behind the other person. Instead, you may just attract someone else that allows you to play out that vision more freely than if you were to do it with that person, if that makes sense. Because you may not understand or may not be able to tune into why that person is behaving a certain way, but because you're not able to, but you still see a vision, you will attract similar energy or better energy depending on where you're at. And then also, if you want to like change, like let's say you want to change, not just like you can't change people, right? Let's say you, not just like a situation with a person, but let's say you want to change the vibration of a room. You could feel like dark energy in your room, or just like a place that you're in. And if it's not really like serving you to have it be in that frequency, you can change the vibration by adding a vision, a light of some kind. Like you're actually like putting light into an area that isn't that you haven't put light into. Like maybe something else started occupying that space, but it plays out as your room or a room in the house, or maybe it plays out as like as a area that you don't fulfill like in your house system. Like house system meaning your natal chart. Like you have different areas of life that you play out certain energies in. If you don't have like certain light forms in certain areas of life, then it makes time for something else to occupy it. Like think of it as like you leave something unoccupied for a while, like a box. Let's say you leave a box unoccupied for a while because you just don't have like much reason to pay attention. You don't have much meaning behind why you'd pay attention to that area. Soon enough, like a spider might move in, right? Like a spider might move into that box. Why? Because you're not putting light into that area, and so something else is going to move in. And then when we see that, we're just like, oh no, like I feel threatened by that space. Like I don't know why that is there, and I don't want it to be there anymore. If you're aware of it, you're like, I don't want it to be there anymore. If you're not aware of it, then you're just like, that place is lonely and dark and there's creepy things in there. I just don't want to go near it. And so it all happens because it all happened like that because you didn't occupy that space. But the more you decide to occupy certain spaces, the more light you put into those things. And depending on what kind of feeling you're putting into that space is what you're going to attract in that space, or what you are feeling in that space from yourself, or what becomes attracted to it, like moths to a flame. And so when you're transmuting energy, you're just considering the fact that you were able to change the vibration of a space. And that space can be anything. It can be your job, or it can be your home, or it can be where you go when you have nothing to do. Like maybe when you have nothing to do, you start feeling like insecure and alone, and you're just like, there's no reason why I should be feeling alone when I'm just like exploring the world, you know? Like you're like, I feel alone, how can I not feel alone? And you're looking to transmute that energy. Then if you're trying to transmute energy where you feel alone around other people, it's probably because like it may be physically in your house system, in your natal chart, like you have like no like significant placement in your associations or your business associates, or like job, or like friends, or like home, like depends for you. But if you have like a feeling of any kind, it just means that that is the emotion occupying that space. If you have an emotion of any kind for that thing, or for that place, or for certain people, then you just have that is the parasite, like, or not the parasite, because it's not always like parasitic, but it's like that's the thing that is occupying that space. That feeling was there first, and that's occupying that space, and that influences the way that situation with that person or that place, it plays out certain scenarios in correlation with that emotion or that feeling. And so your feelings are always going to tell you first. This is how you can pinpoint energy and know what kind of energy is what energy is doing what in your life. Like, I feel like I'm speaking very vaguely, only because like when it's like spirituality, it could be anything. And so let's say I have to turn it into like a physical situation just to make it more clear. Usually if it's spiritual, it'll play out physically some way, somehow, eventually. But let's say you have a let's say you have a pet. All right, you have a pet and you feel like your pet is like doesn't like a certain object in the house, or it doesn't like a certain area of the house. All right, or maybe it doesn't like a certain person. Most likely either you're projecting that energy out and the pet is picking up on it, or that pet brought energy from something else or somewhere else and is projecting it onto that area of life, and you can transmute that. You can only transmute a pet or a person when it comes to trust. There has to be trust, because that's creating a cord for when you have trust. Like trust is like a vibration of attachment. You know, you're creating a tie with someone when there's trust. And so if you have that, then you can transmute a person or an animal or a place or something. But like if you want to see that energy be transmuted, then there has to be that tie. You have to create a empathetic like awareness towards whatever the situation is. So instead of being like, oh, my dog just doesn't like you, and I don't know why, you know, you're just like, I don't care, then rather than doing that, you can just be like, my pet doesn't like you. I guess I can see why he doesn't like you. Most likely because I feel like this and he's picking up on that. Or most likely because this pet, although trust me, it went through its own situations. And so I'm going to create a tie with the thing that I'm trying to transmute. So then that pet can see that a connection's being formed, and then it'll most likely follow too, to make a connection to the thing that I'm trying to transmute. And then we can both you can add compassion towards that thing you're trying to transmute. So then the pet becomes aware that you have compassion towards that thing instead of fear. Or you know, you have like happiness when you see it or when you're around it. The pet will pick up on that emotion, and it'll see that you're okay with it, or that you're you know, forming, like you're changing the energy of it essentially. So it'll see that, and it'll be able to also do that within itself. We are walking lights to pets, by the way. So whatever lights you have, that's all it sees. Like, that's your light whatever light you project onto something, it just sees the frequency of the light that you're projecting, you know, and all the vibrations that you have towards it. It'll pick up on it. And that's how we are, as we're also like this, you know, we pick up on the amount of light or the kind of lights that are being put on something, and that's how we also respond to that thing as well. And so you have to treat everything like that when you're transmuting energy. You have to treat everything as if you are trying to project a certain light on it, because what you say goes, in the end. It doesn't even matter if you have a ghost in your house, you know. You can walk into your house as the brightest being on earth with that mentality, with your lights that you're forming for that whole space. And that ghost, I guarantee you, won't even want to be around. The ghost, depending on how strong it is, might try to change you to make you more fitting for the situation. Therefore, it's more parasitic. But ultimately, you're the one that's physical, okay? Even if you have etheric parasites, in the end, you have the most density. You're here. I mean, those things can be here. That's why sometimes you feel things on your emotional, mental, or spiritual bodies at all. But in the end, you're the one that's here. And those things are barely here, like physically at least. So you have more power, more density. You can create more light, more life, like all around, more than these things. And these things that are parasitic and etheric would be attracted to that because you harness so much of it. But if you don't want those things around, you can decide to make a light so bright from yourself that it just burns off. And this happens to me a lot. I don't always focus on like burning things off. I do actually, never mind, scratch that. I do focus on burning off bad energies. I like to just burn it away. Like the moment it touches me, I want it to just feel the burn. So then it goes away or it just burns off. And it just depends on what kind of energy you're trying to harness. And that can take a while to like change the energy you're harnessing. But the light that you should try to transmute with is the one that comes the most naturally to you. That is of a higher vibration. Like it's the energy that's the most like easiest for you to access, that is not within anger, not within guilt, not within shame. You want to harness the energy that's most accessible to you, that's in alignment with life, and transformation is good. Depends on if you transform good energies, if you transform things to be good for you or good for other people. But you can harness a lot of love for things. You would still be attracting certain energies though, that would be attracted to that. Like you're still going to be in alignment with some things, but it just gives you more power in the thing that you're harnessing. When you're embodying it, you embody this light, and you should stick to the energy that you embody the most, because you're following the natural order of life. Anyway, so let's say I want to use a different example, because sometimes when I'm explaining spiritual stuff, it can be kind of hard, because I see things as, if something's spiritual to me, I see it as spiritual. Like the reason why I call myself the fixed seer is because if it's spiritually there, then I see it for what it is. You know, I don't add like human characteristics, or it's hard for me to like add human characteristics. Like the only time I can add human characteristics to something that's spiritual is when I know that the human itself added those characteristics to it, or that spiritual thing becomes those human characteristics if it were to play out that way. But let's say another example, let's say you have like, not like a ghost in your room, let's say you have like parasites that try to bug you when you're sleeping, because this happens to a lot of us, right? We have parasites that try to like annoy us when we're sleeping, and the most you can do is be aware that your body, like, your body's still gonna be here. Like, with this, you're the physical one, you know what I mean? Like, you're the one that's still gonna be here, but you can choose those things not to be here. And so it's all about the light that you're projecting onto those things. So you can transmute something in any kind of way. I'm gonna tell you one that you probably shouldn't do, but I'm gonna tell you. So let's say something's bugging you in your sleep. Instead of seeing it as this is harming me, you start seeing it as it's actually looking out. It's actually taking the other smaller parasites and using that as energy, so then I don't have to get rid of them. And this thing's only using this much energy overall from me, but it's actually trying to take off these other things that I don't need. Like, let's say it's a parasite that's beneficial. For instance, like a bug, like a spider in your house, right? Spiders eat the flies, right? And so sometimes you want to keep the spiders, but in the end the spider is still a spider. But instead of seeing it as like, oh, it's a spider, when people are more like, this spider keeps the house clean, then you'll notice that they've just transmuted the energy of that being. You know, they transmuted the energy of their home over time, because they see those things as it doesn't harm them. It just cleans up the things that are smaller that you may have missed. But I don't recommend that. I think you should just burn everything off. Just burn, not everything, but just burn off like things that aren't that are parasitic, that aren't if they aren't helping you, then you can just get rid of it. So let's say instead of thinking of it that way, you're just like, okay, I'm physical. You either live by this piece, like you're like land or property to, you're like this big chunk of land to these small parasites sometimes, you know what I mean? So you can say, if you're going to try to consume my energy, you're gonna have to go by my rules. And you can just set a law to your being. This is my favorite way of doing it. You can set a law to, if you're going to access this energy, you have to abide by these set of rules and this law. And you can put down very strict energy. Use Saturn energy if you need to. Like, just tune into whatever lights you have within you. And by lights, it's just the energy that you naturally harness, but you're doubling down on that. Like, you're putting in an extra dose of that energy, and you're making it so then those things that come into this land right here or your space has to abide by those set of rules that you create. And those set of rules, you can make that up however you want. And also, I'm just going to say this really quick. If you want to use crystals, I think crystals are great, because it's like a you're putting that intention into a density. And a stone is dense, and you can it can have whatever characteristic spiritually that you put into it. You add the light, and it is that. So I recommend crystals. You can use whatever kind of crystals you want. Just know that you're programming, like when it's something that's lifeless, like a rock, you can make it whatever energy you want. And this is like a silent alchemy that I was talking about. If you don't want to use tools, then just see the air as that density that you put the intention in. Or you can make like a law to your space or to this space, that whatever steps into it or is trying to utilize your resources has to abide by these rules. And this, you can use that for anything. It doesn't have to even just be for parasites. Like, it can be for anything. But just understanding that you have all the power over these things, and you transmute it based on what what fire you project out of you. You know what I mean? Like your light that you put on it. It's like when how about this? Someone can feel when you're looking at the back of their head, right? You can feel when someone's looking at you. That's because you're feeling their intention. You may not want to be aware of their intention because you're more self-conscious, but in the end you're still feeling it. It's still hitting you like a light. And so you can do this to crystals or like the air around you, or you can even do it to other people. And this is how people can like actually throw up their parasites onto other people, because you can throw an intention at someone based on the light or awareness that you're projecting in that direction. And so I just hope you guys all know that you're stronger than a lot of these things. Like, I know it feels like we're in a world where it's very like there's a lot of duality. So you feel weak instead of just realizing that this world is weak. You know, that you're actually the strong one, and you're just in a weak world that isn't matching up to your expectations, or not even your expectations, but it's just not matching up to your light. And so when you realize the duality, it makes it a lot easier to overcome parasites or etheric entities that would otherwise just be the weak ones. Like, you start seeing them as they're the strong ones and you're weak and you're helpless, but it's actually not the case. But I'm gonna end it here because I want to relax a little bit. So if you like my videos, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to subscribe, that is awesome. I will be seeing you in my next video. You take care.